Hello and welcome to the Corporate Storytime podcast series. My name is Lucas Robinson, the host of the podcast. On this pod, I'll get the opportunity to talk to ASX company leaders and innovators as they run through their personal executive journeys and the stories behind the companies they are helping to grow today. I'll be leveraging my experience as a former stockbroker and my current role with investor relations consultancy, Corporate Storytime. But enough of that. For now, let's gather round, come in close, and let me tell you a story. Hi, and thanks for listening to the Corporate Storytime podcast. In this next episode with Turaco Managing Director, Justin Tremain, you might notice that the sound quality is a bit poor. I apologise for that. We're still sort of getting it right in terms of our technical equipment. We thought about re-recording it, but at the end of the day, I think there's enough good stuff in there for a listener to take something away from the podcast. And with what's happening at the Afema Gold Project, I'm sure that Turaco Gold will have many more opportunities to update us on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and I hope you get through it. Cheers. Well, welcome back to the Corporate Storytime podcast. It's a bit of an unusual one. This one, usually at the beginning of the podcast, I'll be reading a spiel that I've written up verbatim, introducing the executive that I've got with me and the company that he represents. I'll be doing it on typically on a Wednesday afternoon when, for various reasons, the Corporate Storytime office is empty. But on this occasion, I'm coming back to where it all began for Corporate Storytime, which is the front room of my house, where many startups kick off, in the lounge room or the living room or the study in someone's a residential home. We're here in my front room, surrounded by my rock and roll posters, and I'm joined by Turaco Gold Managing Director Justin Tremain. He's got Angus Young, I think, sort of just above him there on the wall. Nick Cave's nearby, so we're in good company here. And we've also got just sitting to the right of Justin, my little dog Fred. Hopefully Fred doesn't give us too much grief. Justin, welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. It's good to be here, and thanks for taking the time to have a chat at your house. And we're running some very interesting artwork. Yeah, it's a very chilled out dog.
Very chilled out dog. Yeah. This room's sometimes regarded as the Subiaco chapter of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think. Not that I can play these instruments very well. Well, thanks for joining us, mate. I wanted to have a chat to you. Obviously, pretty big news for Turaco recently, acquiring a majority stake in the Afema Gold Project in Cote. I know this is not your first time or not your first rodeo in Cote. In fact, this is one of several projects that Turaco's got in the country, but you've also been involved in another business in the country as well. What is it about Cote that keeps you coming back?
Look, it's really just the opportunities is the first and foremost. This Afema project is a prime example. It's a big multi-million ounce project. Without question, it's had a lot of work done already on it. And these sort of projects, they just don't come along typically, and certainly not in Australia. We never come across a project like this. So it really is the opportunity to find I guess a term that's used a bit loosely, but sort of world-class projects for a junior company like Turaco. And then in terms of, I guess, the next step today, in terms of the country, we're very comfortable working there. It's a very easy place to work in terms of getting, contractors and suppliers. There's now 9 operating mines there. So a very strong gold industry in the country.
Some of whom are right, and some of those mines are owned by ASX listed companies.
Yeah, that's right. Like the likes of Perseus have 2 operating mines there. There's some Canadian and London companies, Endeavour. Tieto's another.
Just taken over.
Yeah, we're
under takeover.
Yeah. Endeavour is probably the biggest producer in Cote d'Ivoire. Barrick's got an operating mine there. And this doesn't happen if the government wasn't supportive and it wasn't a place where you could finance and permit development of mining operations. So that's another tip. And then in terms of security, that's a very safe place to operate. Taking kids, I tried taking kids at holiday, Christmas actually.
Right.
Pretty quite busy, but I had no problems taking my kids there. And it's a very safe place to work. So I guess they're the three key things. So first and foremost, the project opportunities, and then the ability to finance and develop mine that's proven, and that's happened several times in the country. And then ultimately for the people and the contractors and consultants to be safe. Yeah.
Sure.
And so it certainly ticks all those boxes.
And geologically, it sits on the Birimian greenstone belt. Tell us a little bit about that more broadly, and how many sort of 1 million ounce deposits they discovered.
The Birimian starters, I think, was 60 plus 1 million ounce projects across the Birimian. But a lot of those are sort of plus 3 or 5 million ounces. But in Cote d'Ivoire actually has more of the mapped Birimian than any of the neighbouring countries. So it's got over a third of the mapped greenstone belt. But it's currently yielded maybe 5 to 10% of the ounces. It's because it hasn't had the exploration, and that's because it hasn't always been the place it is today. So it went through a period back in the early 2000s of sort of upheaval, and there's about 10 years of unrest there. And that 10-year period was when a lot of money was put into West Africa, in Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana. So that's where all the exploration went, is to those countries and not to Cote d'Ivoire. But now, Cote d'Ivoire is without question, like nobody could argue, it's the sort of shining light in West Africa, but it hasn't had that exploration. So the exploration is not as mature, and therefore, the project opportunities are far better, I think, than some of the neighbouring countries that already had, several companies explore the greenstone.
Yeah. And the Afema project is 120 kilometres from the capital, Abidjan, and it's towards the Ghanaian border.
Yep, it's actually on the border with Ghana. So less than a 2-hour drive out of the airport of International Airport in Abidjan.
And geologically, it sort of sits on the convergence of two fairly prolific gold belts where several deposits in Ghana exist.
Yeah, so it's always been a project that really, for the last 20, 30 years, all the majors have been very interested in it because of this, just ignoring all the historical drilling that's been done and what's already been found there. Just the geological location where you've got basically two of the main gold belts in Ghana, which are world-class gold belts. They have several plus 5 million ounce deposits on each of these. They extend across the border into southeast Cote d'Ivoire, and they converge together and wrap around a big intrusive body. And that is what the Afema project covers. It's a total project area is over 1,000 square kilometres, and it covers all of this prospective ground. And so we've got multiple, 5 to 20 kilometre structures, which we know are mineralised, but only one of those so far has been had any drilling done on it.
Right. And before we get too much into the geology, the benefits of being just 1.5 hours drive from the capital, you've got paved roads, you've got access to infrastructure.
Yeah, look, it's the infrastructure, but also in West Africa now, unfortunately, you do need to be aware of the security situation. So in the north, the countries such as Burkina, which used to be the sort of flavour of the many years for gold exploration and mining, has now become very very challenging security wise, as has Mali. It's probably deteriorated. So you certainly want to be in West Africa for the geology, but you want to be as far south as you can. So this is southeast. Yeah, it's far south of West Africa. So very safe. And then, as you said, the infrastructure. Really for gold projects, it's really access. So we've got a highway that runs across the southern part of our project, which is a border crossing into Ghana. So it's a brand new highway, sealed, and so we're no more than 10 to 15 kilometres off that. And then power is probably the other critical item. And we actually, in Cote d'Ivoire actually export power. So they produce all their power in excess and export that to their neighbouring countries. And that's all through hydropower. And one of the main hydropower schemes actually joins our project area. So we've got high voltage transmission lines that are running across the property area that we'll be able to tap into. And I think, sort of sell power around 12 cents kilowatt hour. So that'll be invaluable for the project moving forward. So from an infrastructure point of view and from a security point of view, I don't think we certainly couldn't get a better located project in West Africa than the Afema project.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of work done and past exploration. I understand around $40 million US has been spent in drilling and various exploration work. What has that achieved up to this point, and where are you taking it?
Yeah, so as I said, there's multiple structures which we know are mineralised. We've got high resolution magnets over our whole 1,200 square kilometre area, which clearly defines the geology. And then we've got soil geochemistry over large parts and stream sediment sampling. That confirms these structures are all mineralised, but only one of those has been drilled. And there's been about close to 300,000 metres of drilling along this structure. In fact, it was historically mined in the late 90s, early 2000s as a heap leach operation, and they produced around 150,000 ounces of gold at a few grams per tonne. And then subsequent to that, the later unlisted company came in and did a lot of drilling from sort of 2012 through 2016 and extended the mineralisation that was previously excluded in those big leach pits down at depth. And that company, unfortunately, due to management and shareholder issues, fell over. And then a private group got hold of it and they brought in Tremain as a joint venture partner. We then did a whole lot more drilling, spent another $20 million US in the project, and made a new discovery as well off display this one structural equipment thing here. So
which is Wooloo.
Yeah, it's the Wooloo discovery, but there's along this Afema shear previously been drilled about 12 deposits that have been extended at depth. There's really two of the main ones we call Jonction and Yuri. Both being drilled down to sort of 200 or 300 metres, ready to put in resource. There is historical resources that were estimated on these projects, which we're redoing those resources, and the beauty of this is even without drilling a hole, we could come out with a JORC resource very quickly. We want to do a bit of drilling, a bit of metallurgy, and we expect to come out with a maiden JORC resource on this project within 6 months. It'll sort of be mid-year, and obviously we expect that to be millions of ounces.
Right. And from talking to you before we started recording, I understand that work is getting underway. Turaco's first drill program of Afema is almost, ready to go now.
Yeah, well, in fact, we probably maybe start drilling tonight, our time, or definitely by the weekend, drilling first rig arrive on site overnight our time yesterday, their time, to the diamond rig, which is drilling along this Afema shear. To confirm historical drilling, but also to give us fresh samples for the metallurgical test work which we want to take here in Perth, which actually is already underway. Got some historical drilling back here a few weeks ago, so that's already kicked off that program. So that drilling will be underway this weekend at the latest, and then we'll have another rig, an RC rig arrive next week, which will start looking at drilling on that Wooloo discovery that Tremain made, and we're looking at extending that down depth. So we've been drilled down to about 120 metres and drill that down to 200 metres as part of the main JORC resource that I mentioned.
So tell us about the Wooloo, because that features sort of up the front of the presentation decks that come out. That's obviously a really high priority target. And
yes and no. Look, it's a high priority target because it's a bulk resource, bulk mineable resource. So it's mineralisation that's been drilled already over 2.5 kilometres of strike. It's substantial strike. And it's very consistent, sort of 25 up to 80 metres in width. The average is about sort of 20, 30 metres in width across that 2.5 or 2.8 kilometres strike that's been drilled. And so it's only drilled down to 100 metres. It's not high grade, it's sort of really low ones, very consistent, a very low strip ratio, bulk, mineable resource with, high conversion to expected high conversion to reserves at a low strip ratio. So it really gives a base load, I guess, as part of the project moving forward. But certainly, I wouldn't say it's the high pro, like the Afema shear, there's very high grade mineralisation on that stone drilled, and we do the metallurgy on that. And subject to that metallurgy, that could really be the focus. So
you'll find out more as you get further into it.
And then the exploration potential. So it's really three parts to the Woolly thing share, and then the sort of undrilled, amazing, exploration parts. No doubt we build those discoveries.
Yeah, which we'll find out more about in time. But on the Met, I can see that there's been bottle roll tests on Woolly that have provided some encouragement.
Is all done, so it's bottle rolls, which is really just sort of rudimentary first pass Met test work. But it certainly never raised any red flags on Woolly with sort of plus 90% recovery with oxide and fresh there. But we've got some of that historical drilling now in Perth, and we're doing some more comprehensive rock feasibility study level educated leach work on that, which is underway at the moment. But that's a really factor positive.
Why don't we talk about the fact that the project encompasses both a mining lease and some exploration leases? Is the bulk of the work, I take it's been done within the mining lease?
Yeah, that's right. So just the history of the project, and this is why the project hasn't been developed. It's quite amazing when you look at it and see why it hasn't been developed. I guess it's just the history of it and the ownership of it. But they got a granted mining lease back in 2016, or actually 2013, a mining convention came in 2016 that supports that mining licence, and that covers where the drilling is, and that's that 200 square kilometres, central 200 square kilometres of the project area. And then the other 1,000 square kilometres that wraps around that is at the moment for us exploration permit applications, and wait for them to grant it. But there hasn't been any drilling on that ground outside the mining permit. But there's been soil geochemistry, trenching, geophysics over the whole area.
And some artisanal
there's
mining?
Extensive artisanal mining throughout the area. And in fact, a lot of this exploration ground where there's been sort of trenching done by Tremain that generated fantastic trenching results, 10 to 30 metres of backgrounds as they drew. That's now evolved into artisanal mining pits with their actual exploiting and mining there. And that's why we're very confident of discovery and drilling out more ounces. So the beauty is we've got the main area which is on the granted mining permit with a mining convention. It's basically ready to go. But then we've got the whole 1,000 square kilometre exploration tender around it, which has already had a lot of the more mundane
preliminary sort of
work done and not of interest to investors.
But needs to be done.
Ready to be drilled.
Yeah, and I suppose going back to the history of the project, I mean, a lot of people will ask, well, how did Turaco come by this asset? I mean, how did it fall in your lap? I mean, how did you get Endeavour to agree to vend their interest into Turaco equity? This sort of, I know from talking to you over the last 18 months what a labour it's been to get here, but perhaps you can explain.
Yeah, well, it hasn't happened overnight, that's for sure. So it's been probably, has been 2 years probably to the day when we first started looking at it and first started negotiating on it. It's been a huge challenge to get a deal done. And once again, that was predominantly because of the ownership. So it was only really by two groups, a private group, who's our joint venture partner moving forward, and Endeavour, who inherited their stake, and they merged with a company called Turaco that had done a joint venture with this private group previously in 2018. fortunately, that sort of fell into a dispute, and so the project did stall. And also the structure of the joint venture, was not workable for Endeavour, and wouldn't be workable for anyone, to be honest. That really stalled the project, but then it was a matter of doing a deal with two groups, the private group plus Endeavour. Plus also the project's been disappointing for the country. Granted mining permit, there was the expectation that there'd be a mine there, and it hasn't happened. So the community and the government have been disappointed with the project. So it sort of required, I guess, to take it from several angles, and also required like pretending and playing up as well. So yeah, it took a long time, and I guess why Turaco? I mean, there's a lot of luck involved, like being in the right place at the right time. But then more about not being scared away from obstacles and issues that came up.
Patience and hard work.
Yeah, and just being able to wanting to work through those, because the size of, in our view, the size of the prize was certainly worth the effort. Whereas I mean, the big companies, I guess it's not as relevant to them, and therefore working through some of these challenges that we have to go through, I guess the reward isn't being as valuable as it is for a company like Turaco.
Yeah, I mean, it would be easy to put it all in the too hard basket for some of those groups.
Yeah.
But yeah, good on you for being tenacious and getting it over the line.
Yeah, we sort of gave up about 10 times.
So why don't you go into some specific detail on this exploration program that's about to kick off? Where are you targeting your drilling, and what other sort of exploration work's going on?
Yeah, like every exploration, your results over the next couple of months will take it the following couple of months. But right now we've just locked in about 15,000 metres of drilling. So that's a few thousand metres of diamond drilling along the Afema shear. So that's drilling existing known deposits, predominantly with Junction deposit, I mentioned, a Newry deposit, which will obviously confirm high grade, mineralisation you expect, but also give samples to do make test work that diamond core. So that's underway this weekend, and that will ramp up in the second diamond rig. So we'll have 3 rigs actually in a few weeks, but that'll be sort of a couple of months of drilling there. And then we've got plus 10,000 metres of RC drilling that we've started with Woolloo, so drilling that down to 200 metres, which is an optimised pit shell in economic depth. So there's, once again, a couple of months of drilling there, and once it's done, that'll start stepping out and testing some exploration targets. As I said before, we've got the granted mining permit and then the ground around these exploration permit applications. We expect those to be granted very soon, and then as soon as they're granted, we have walk up through targets. So that's where that RC rig will go and start drilling those targets on the exploration ground. But if those applications are delayed for whatever reason, we don't expect that, then that rig will move on from Woolloo and start drilling along the Afema shear with
Okay. Well, that's the Afema project. I know that Turaco has got a large land holding throughout Cote d'Ivoire, but you're on the record as saying that the main focus is going to be Afema, and also the project that the company's got in central Cote d'Ivoire, which is Birimian. Yeah. And to that end, you're looking at divestment or joint venturing some of the other projects. And I know that today's Thursday, the 7th of March, when Justin keeps talking about this weekend, that sort of put it in context. But yesterday, the company announced that you were doing a joint venture on for a farm out on the Tonga North project with Fortuna.
Yeah, so we've done that. So that's our Tonga North project in the north there. And so Fortuna's a gold producer in Cote d'Ivoire and Kenya, and developing another mine in Senegal. So they're quite a big Canadian.
And they acquired Chessa.
They've recently acquired Chessa. They're looking to expand their exploration footprint in Cote d'Ivoire, like many of these West African producers are. So we've sort of farmed out of coming in optioned up on the North project. We're 80% interested in that to me. And then we still have several other projects in north, what's called the Alley Permit 30 for a project in Redeem. We'll be looking at offloading those as well in the short term. And then really focus our attention on FEMA and to a lesser extent the Birimian project in Central Cote. And for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, we want to show government that is our focus, but also we are a small company. We can't be doing all the projects justice. And obviously for us, the thing is more advanced and the historical work, that's where we think we get best value for our money. So that will be certainly focused going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what you describe and what everyone can read about the Afema project, you've got so many targets and so much upside there that, it's really one that you're concentrating your efforts there. Do you want to talk about the team? I know that, the exploration manager, Elliot.
Yeah. So we've got, so Elliot and I worked together, previous company as well. It's all, so we got chief geologists. And he spent pretty much his entire career in West Africa. He lived in West Africa for 7 years or something. He knows the Birimian as well as anyone. And as part of this acquisition, Rob Seeds joined us as COO. And in fact, he was just engaged. He's once again very experienced throughout the world, but West Africa. He's sort of run several mining operations in West Africa. And he was originally engaged into help with due diligence on this project. He was just blown away by this project, and especially in West Africa. His words, the projects you just don't come across in your lifetime typically. So he's very keen, so he's joined us in full-time capacity as COO. We run sort of the resources, feasibility work on the Afema project, and Elliot will be responsible for the more regional exploration, being out and working up in field testing those other parts.
And the board?
And then the board is obviously myself, John Fitzgerald, and chairman. I've once again worked with now for probably 20 years actually, but he's also chairman of Exor. Alan Campbell's there, who's previously the MD of Papillon, and then they're that company that discovered the Cote deposit in Mali, which is the biggest discovery in West Africa in the last 20 years. I think it's sort of 10 million ounce discovery in that.
And one of the reasons, Papillon's probably one of the reasons why ASX investors are enthusiastic about
the region what we can find.
Yeah.
And then our other director is Bruce Moller, who's actually head of exploration for Reservoir. So that's very experienced with that geologist.
Excellent. Well, mate, that's a pretty good overview of what Turaco's up to. I should declare that I'm a very happy shareholder, and given that the gold price is sort of finding newer highs each day, it's a pretty good time to be investing in a company that seems to have world-class, as Rob Seed said, once in a lifetime sort of project that's arrived in the company. So you must be pretty pumped.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it took a long time to get the deal across the line. There was a silver lining in every cloud, and by the time we announced it, the gold price seems to be on the up, and there's a lot more interest in gold the last few months than there has been in the last 3 years. So not bad timing as well, which is once again to get down to moving forward with a project like this in buoyant gold environment.
Well, if you stick at it long enough, you're going to get a bit of luck, both good and bad. So take the good when it's on the table. Good on you. Thanks, Justin. Thanks for coming into my home.
Thanks for having me.
And Fred managed to behave himself.
That's right.
In fact, he looks like he might be a bit plum tuckered out. All right. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Corporate Storytime podcast. We're really trying to build our audience for the podcast and aim to deliver regular episodes of our chats with executives from some of the ASX's most interesting companies. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your friends, follow the podcast and give us a like wherever you download it. And if you have any feedback, please drop us a line at info@corporatestorytime.com. Thanks and all the best.